Okay. Yep. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Vinay Kumar. I have total 18 plus years of IT experience and currently working as a cloud solution architect in one MNC from Hyderabad. And I have been doing this online courses regularly, and this is just for my hobby. So it is just a like part-time or freelance work, whatever you consider. And before this course, I was running through some of the Azure and Azure DevOps courses too. And I also do corporate trainings and many other things. That's all brief about myself. And I will start a screen share and we'll get started with the course contents and what this course about we will get understand. Yeah, I hope everyone can see my screen. Please give a thumbs up or just say confirm.
Be able to see.
Okay, thank you. Hi, welcome everyone. This particular course mainly intended for people who are already working and people who are looking for job switch within the company, or I mean job switch can happen within the company or from outside the company, and people who have some or other knowledge of application development and some or other if you are from a testing background or any development background or infra background or network background or security background, this course will be suitable. Here we are mainly going to learn 5 different skills. Okay, I will list the 5 skills are we are going to learn: Azure, Azure DevOps, and Docker, Kubernetes, and Terraform. These are the 5 hard skills. Even if you look any job description in current job market, you will find either of them in any combination. You will definitely find these skills in any job description. So this particular course designed mainly, people who are really wants to go and get the not only the Azure but the DevOps side of Azure, and of course the containers using the Kubernetes platforms and the Docker and as well as the Terraform. Yeah, this is the main skills which we are going to learn. And before going into the course content, I would like to go through some of the housekeeping stuff or the logistics. And this course duration mainly 40 hours, starts from Monday to Friday, weekly 5 days, and timings are 8:30 to 9:30 in the evening. Suppose in case if you are working, so it will be still a convenient time for you. And in this course, beauty of this course is mainly I will be providing most of the real-time use cases which customers are currently looking and currently we are going through. Most of the time, I will try to give the real-time use cases, and the exercises will also be given after the each session. And you will get the hands-on experience for sure. And after the each and every session, in case if you miss any session, the recording session will be provided. Yeah, it can be Skype or Zoom, whatever you can able to go and play back the missed session. Or in case if you do not understand any topic, you can go and play back any point of time. And the expectation for this course is you need to have a free trial Azure subscription. You need to have a credit card. Just we will be getting 30 days of free trial account, Azure account. That is more than enough for you to go and try out everything, whatever we are going to learn. And from the Azure DevOps side, it's in a separate account, but it is free of cost. No credit card, nothing is required. Up to 5 licenses or users is absolutely free for everyone. So don't need to worry about Azure DevOps account. Only the Azure subscription is the one you need to take care. And the Terraform is the tool which we are going to learn is a completely open source. So as Docker. Yeah. And notes will be provided in this form of OneNote. After each and every session topic, you will be getting the notes like in the form of, it's like a notebook. If you might have used the OneNote, you are familiarized. This is how the notebook looks, and these are all the chapters, and these are all pages. So we can easily, navigate whatever the topic we want to go through. So notes side, you don't need to worry. I will be providing the notes, complete notes with the screenshots. Yeah.
Okay, teach on the microservice also.
Microservices will see one use case if towards end when we go to actually Azure Kubernetes service. Yes, we'll be deploying one of the microservice architecture. Yeah, we'll take any of the example, and I'll be showing how the microservice actual, because microservice, if you take any microservice based, the cluster is the most preferable platform, right? So without cluster, it is not possible to achieve the microservice based deployments. So I'll be showing with the help of Azure
For
Kubernetes
the
service.
serverless functions and all.
Serverless, yes, serverless functions that will come under PaaS, PaaS, platform as a service. Yes, we'll be using, most of the time, not exactly, no, the serverless, but if anybody wants, I can go and show how Azure function works, how this logic app works.
No, some
Yeah.
examples are required, right?
Yeah, yeah. Serverless, if anyone is, yes, though it is not part of this course content, but yes, if anybody wants, yes, I can go through it, not a problem. Azure functions, and the logic apps is the most preferred services under serverless. Yeah, like I said before, the job roles which current industry is looking, mainly Azure developer. If you are from a development background, and like you asked, the the serverless services. Mainly, if you are familiarized with the serverless, like say Azure Functions or Azure App Service or Logic Apps, or in SQL Server also we have a serverless one database is available. So if you are familiarized with these things, means you are considered as Azure developer. And before that, you need to understand complete cloud topics like what is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. When do we use VM? When do we go for app service? So if you can able to distinguish between these different cloud models what we have today, then probably we are in the better position to take up this Azure developer role. Excuse me, just on getting continuous call. Hello. Yeah, sorry guys. One of the student he joined recently. So yeah, Azure developer, you are the most preferred person if you are from development background. In case if you are not, but you can also gain the skill easily. Just you need to spend little time, extra time to understand the services which mainly for the developer. Like I said, the serverless and other things. In case if someone is good in the Active Directory, or someone is good in the networking concepts, or if you are from infra background, and if you know some security things, firewalls and etc., you are the better person to go and take up as a Azure admin role. Absolutely. But you need to just focus on the certification, like AG 400 is the certification. If you can able to crack this, before that AG 900 is the fundamentals one. Anyhow, it is a prereq for all the certification. So if you can pass the AG 400, then you can easily crack the AG 104.
But AZ developer, any prerequisite is required?
In case if you want to go for Azure developer, then AG 204 is the preferred certificate. Yeah, AG 204. If you complete AG 104 and 204, one at a time or one by one, then you are eligible for AG 400. If you complete any one of them, either 104 or 204, then you are eligible to take up AG 400. That is Azure DevOps Engineers Expert Certificate will give you.
Azure developer is AZ 204. Huh?
Exactly. 204 is the developer. Yes. 104 is admin. And 400 is the Azure DevOps expert. AG 900 is fundamentals. AG 305 is the solution architect. So we have many different certifications. There are a wide variety of certifications for the different background people. Yeah. And if you are intended for Azure Migrate Engineer, then you need to go through the CI/CD concepts. You need to be aware of the application development processes. And once you get some hands-on, then you can confidently take up this kind of roles too. But for all this, the course content will help you in taking up any one of these roles. That's what I meant to be. I'm not pushing or saying anything that once you learn this, you will get all this kind of roles. That may not be true, but either of these roles can be fit for you depending on your background and your practice and your confidence levels. Yeah. And solution architect is someone who has gone through some experience with cloud, any of the cloud. you can consider a solution architect.
For
But
CI/CD pipeline, can you do from end to end, like from development to final?
yes, sir, exactly, exactly.
You,
We'll be
for
covering, yeah,
example, on this one.
yeah, yeah. If you see the course contents, the course content, I wanted to cover the course contents too. Here, yes, right from the beginning, we'll be covering what is pipeline, how we can go and right from requirements like Azure board support the requirements. Then after that, the source code, where we maintain the source code, we'll maintain in Azure repos. And then after the source code is done, then the pipelines. The pipeline, yes, from the end to end, from the application, from
Some
the requirements gathering to
can
deployment,
show,
monitoring will be covered. Yes.
can show something on the GitHub and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
link
Definitely,
or
definitely. We'll take the source code from GitHub or from the Azure repos. Yes. Our TFS source code can be anywhere. We just need to go and connect using the Azure service connection. And then we can, once we able to authenticate and authorize, and then the source code can be checked out in a pipeline. And then we'll also be integrating the Sonar Cube for the code quality or the static code
Sonar
analysis.
Cube also will.
Sonar Cube, yes, I will definitely cover that. Yes. Yeah. And this is the course content. If anybody is really keen, if anybody one of you not got the course content, this is how the course content is defined. We'll be learning the cloud concepts and the storage account, then the virtual machines, and app service, container service, networking. What is virtual network? What is subnet? How do we go and define subnets? Network security group, and the other networking or the load balancer services also will be covering application gateway, traffic manager. In which what scenario will go for application gateway like firewall? What is Azure Bastion? These are the advanced concepts I can say, but we'll be covering them. And one of you asked what the serverless side. So I'll be showing one Azure function, how Azure function can be uh, deployed and configured, and how can it be used in a use case manner. And the logic app is the one very no code. I mean, without any writing any code, we can able to achieve some workflows. We can able to automate some manual processes into automated way. And we'll be learning the Active Directory too, Azure Active Directory, how to create users, how to create groups, and monitoring. We'll be learning monitoring and the AKS. I said AKS will be deploying some of the real-time use cases too. Like one of you asked the microservice. Yes, one microservice will take it as a use case. Like it's like a project, but though it takes time, we have to understand the each and every individual containers. Like we will be dividing each and every uh, application modules into different containers, and when you deploy them together, then it becomes a microservice, right? So we'll be doing that. Then the DevOps concepts: what is CI/CD, what is Agile, how the requirements are gathered in the fashion of Kanban boards, what is uh, backlog, and what is the how we can run through the sprints. All those things we'll be covering. And version control as Git and GitHub will be connecting. Docker for sure. We'll be creating some sample applications and containerize them and store the Docker images into registry. And then we'll pull the registry from pipeline and we'll be deploying to VM, Azure VM app service, and even to Kubernetes platforms cluster. Azure pipelines for sure will be taking most of the time Java or .NET or any other tech stack. Mostly we'll cover Java, .NET, and if you like any other tech stack like Python or PHP, I mean anything can be covered in pipelines. There is no restriction with the tech stack. Yeah. As long as you have a build tool for that for your source code, then we are good. So the build tools will be covering the for .NET we'll use MS Build, and for Java, can anyone tell you what is the build tool we use to build for Java application? Anyone from any development background here?
Yeah, Maven.
Maven, yeah. Maven is the very popular build tool. It's open source and only it needs the dependencies in the form of form.xml. Yeah. So we'll be using that.
That is also we use.
Yes, Maven, yes. We'll be covering
That
Maven. Exactly. We'll
That
cover Gradle, yeah, both are same. I mean, Maven or Gradle, they don't show any difference, but yes, we'll be using the Maven for sure. In case as exercise you want to try with Gradle, yeah, Gradle requires its own dependencies because Gradle, after all, it's a different tool, but the end of the day, the dependencies and the source code will be the same. So we'll be using Maven or Gradle, no problem. Both are same. Because Azure DevOps, being Azure DevOps is a CI/CD tool, it supports any kind of build tool. And yeah, these are some of, and we'll be giving some guidelines how to crack AG 400. Yeah, this is about the course contents, and yeah, the prerequisite which I told that you need to have a Azure subscription. You just in case if you use any of your work related account, if you are free to use, you can still use that, and otherwise you need to just get one. And the Azure DevOps site, if you see this dev.azure.com, if you can able to log into any Azure DevOps account, this is how the Azure DevOps works. Here in the organization, will maintain the projects, multiple projects, and each and every project contains. These are the tools. In the left hand side, you will find the tools for boards. As I said, boards will maintain the requirements in the form of if you are working in Agile or Scrum, then how we actually capture the requirement and how we add it as a work item. So we'll be learning there are various work items available in the form of epic, feature, issue, task, test case, user story. Yeah, sprints, how we can add user story into sprint, and those things we'll be covering. Yes, this is what the requirement side. And then once the requirements are gathered and when we ready to go and develop something, then where do you push the code as a developer? Yeah, Azure DevOps providing Azure repos, right? Azure repos follows the Git and also TFS. Suppose if you are from a .NET background, you might already using the TFS, yeah, Team Foundation Service. After all, this Azure DevOps actually inherited from TFS only. If any one of you heard TFS, then Azure DevOps may not be a surprise or new to you, because from TFS only Visual Studio Online came, inherited. Then after that VSTS, Visual Studio Team Services, came into picture. Then last 2-3 years, completely Microsoft transformed VSTS into Azure DevOps, and they added so many features. Then Azure DevOps has been popular because it it has all these tools. The tool chain, the DevOps tool chain is in one single account itself. As a developer, you need not go to other tool to go and check in your code. As a Scrum Master or as a business owner, you really need not go to any other tool to track your project progress, right? And if you are a Azure DevOps engineer, if you are a DevOps engineer, then you come to this pipeline section and you create pipelines, and the source code wherever it may be, no, it doesn't matter. Unless until you can authenticate and authorize, we can fetch the code from the repositories, and then we can able to orchestrate the pipeline either using the YAML. We'll be learning the YAML as well. So with the help of YAML, we can able to orchestrate the pipeline. And once the pipeline is orchestrated, then you just automate. Whenever there is a code check-in happens in your repository, automatically your build pipeline will trigger, and it will build the code. Not only it builds, it will also check the code correctness with the Sonar Cube or other tools. And if there are any unit test cases, it will also go and try to execute the unit test cases to make sure that unit test cases are all passed. And then the build tool will come into picture. It will try to build your source code based on the build tool, and then the artifact, whatever may be the format. If it is a Java, the artifacts will be jar, or if it is a .NET, it is a DLL or other formats. Then we go and save the artifacts into Azure artifacts, and then your release pipeline, the deployment pipeline will come into picture, and it will take your artifacts, and then it will try to push or deploy or release to the target environment. The target can be Here it can be a virtual machine, or it can be app service, or it can be Kubernetes. So 3 platforms will be covering. And if you are from a QA background, you need to automate your application functional test cases, right? So you will be writing the test suite or test cases or test plans, and so that they can be integrated with the pipeline too. That can be also possible in case if you are from a QA background. So no matter whatever the stakeholder you are part of your project, you can able to achieve your work with the single tool. Okay, Azure DevOps being the single tool, I can say it's not a tool; it's a framework. Then it contains all these many tools. Like if you take any other Jenkins or other CI/CD tool, popular tool, they don't have all these capabilities to accommodate your requirements or your source code or test plans or artifacts. It doesn't hold all this. You need to depend on the third-party plugins if you want to achieve. But whereas here in Azure DevOps, we don't need to really worry about those because everything right from requirements to your application deployment and managing the source code and test plan automation, everything is available in one single place. That is the reason Azure DevOps has been become so popular, and it is the most popular CI/CD tool what customers are looking, and being the Azure being their platform. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Please let me know. I will take a pause.
Is it Dockers and all will teach, right? Dockers.
We'll be building the Docker images for sure, and we'll be push the images to Azure Container Registry. Yeah, from there we will pull the image into our deployments while we deploy into Kubernetes.
So
Yeah.
Kubernetes, like we are need to infrastructure as service also are covering, right? Like
VMs, virtual machines. Yes.
creating the virtual machines and all.
Yes. That is part of the course. Very much. Yes. We'll be covering initially.
Cloud also a part of the course, na?
Cloud, yes. We'll be firstly covering the cloud concepts. What is cloud? What is Microsoft Azure? How can we create the resource we using the PowerShell commands or CLI, AG commands? And what is subscription? How can we create storage account? How can we create virtual machine? How we connect to virtual machine like Windows or Linux? What is
Database
RDP?
kind of things covering.
Yeah. Sorry?
Any database kind of things like
Database.
MongoDB kind of things.
No, actually, because this course is mainly for DevOps in the mind. So we are not going detail in database. Or in case if you want to really try
So
out.
if you create any project kind of things connecting to the MongoDB and.
Yeah, we can take that use case, not a problem. But in case if somebody really wants to go and connect the application to any other database, like we can spin up the Azure SQL. Yeah, that is being a PaaS service, and your application will still be connecting to Azure SQL as a database. Yes, that can be very much possible, not a problem, not a big deal. It won't take much time to go and connect to your database. Yeah, that won't be a big deal. And the networking component, VNet, subnet, all those things will be covering. Networking and the advanced networking concepts are the load balancers will also be covering. Azure Active Directory. So most of the Azure is also covering for you. I cannot say that everything, but
so will
some
this course sufficient for admin and DevOps?
Yeah, very much. You can also go for Azure admin. That's what I initially described all the job roles which currently people are looking. You can choose any one of this role once you complete this course. That's what, depending on your confidence level and your practice and your background and your interest too. SRE, Site Reliability Engineer, is the most popular again, a role which many people are looking. And there is a difference between, can anyone tell me SRE between a DevOps engineer? This might be the interview question in case if you are.
Pardon? SRE and?
SRE and DevOps engineer.
SRE is a site reliability engineer. It is just a role.
What they do?
It is there is no person kind of SRE, but it is a just role of that.
Exactly. So SRE is a person who maintain your infrastructure reliably. That means, let's assume that your application is running in a virtual machine, and you need a person to make sure that virtual machine is always available and your application, so as your application. So who is that person? So SRE is the person who is responsible to make sure that your running infra should be available all the time. That is the main purpose of SRE. But as a DevOps engineer, that is not your role. Your role is to just automate your application deployment processes, build and deployment, build and release, whatever the terminology you may be using. But the DevOps engineer role is to automate whatever the manual process you are doing, your projects are going through. You just need to automate them, whatever the extent it may be possible. In the initial stages, you may just bring in the code quality. Yeah, when someone checking the code, there should be a build pipeline will kick off, and it will only just to make sure that there are no code quality issues by running through the various scanning tools. So the DevOps engineer role is to try to automate the manual processes and bringing the quality everywhere, right from the requirements gathering till it gets deployed. The quality and the communication between the developers and operations guys. So we need to, the DevOps engineer role is to bridge the gap between developers and operations. Operations guys will always follow whatever the developer says, that okay, today I build the code and here is my output, and just you go and deploy somewhere. Then the operations guys may not understand what are the actual outcomes of your application. Then probably they are the not right person to understand your application code. So to minimize all these gaps and all, the DevOps engineer can only do. Yeah, we'll be learning detail about the DevOps engineer role, what is CI/CD and all those things.
Are you covering any observability tools?
Yes, the monitoring, right? Yeah, monitoring also is part of this course. Yeah, you rightly mentioned. Yes, Azure monitoring. What is, how can we create, how can we trigger the alerts when something is going
Like
wrong?
Grafana or kind of things, Grafana.
No, yeah, not too much into that, but the native Azure monitoring tools will be covering. Yeah. In terms of monitoring, yes, the Azure Monitor is the native tool of Azure. We'll be covering the, let's say your application, your virtual machine memory is going down, or the CPU is running out of this thing, then we need to get an alert immediately. So that as a SRE, I go and take some action before my application die or down. Yeah, we'll be covering the basics of monitoring. We'll be using the Azure native tool monitor. Yeah, the use cases will vary. I mean, there is no limit for that. Yeah, even if 1 year course also not sufficient in that case, if we take those. Yeah, that's what I'll try to keep it simple, and same time I'll be covering the use cases which currently most of the commonly used scenarios will be covered mainly. Okay, any questions here in terms of the course structure or contents?
Like, are you also teaching the how to create a carbon board, those things?
Very much, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, if you go to boards, yeah, we'll be creating one sprint, and we'll create the backlog items, and then how sprint actually runs right from starting to end, and what are the different phases we run going through, and all those things will be covering. Yeah, no problem. Work items, with the help of work items, everything we can achieve in boards. The tool itself is board, so it is covered.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Can anyone tell what are the real-time use cases with the cloud, which we are already using on day-to-day basis, and currently you are using already? Can you just tell me any example? cloud is something which is not at all new thing. I mean, we all think that cloud is new and we need to learn. No, no, no. We are already using. We are already users of cloud actually.
Netflix.
Netflix is the yes. That is a good example. Can anyone tell which we use mostly with our mobiles? Gmail. Gmail is one cloud service. Gmail. Why not? And your cloud G Drive, Google Drive. Very much best example.
365, Microsoft 365. Also.
Microsoft 365, yes.
Yes.
Exactly. And even your suppose if you are using iPhone, you are already connecting to iCloud to sync your important documents or photos or anything. You want to sync it. What is the reason why we are syncing to cloud? Can anyone guess why we are taking backup in cloud? Why can't we just maintain in the phone itself?
Yeah, it's a data issue, and cloud is a centralized data maintenance.
Yes.
Basically, we are moving to cloud is to avoid these infrastructure issues and cost benefit.
Exactly.
Like if you want to maintain your own thing,
Correct.
means there is a lot of security issues and a lot of infrastructure is required, and maintenance is also very costly.
Yes,
So,
you are on. Actually, you are in right track. Exactly, that's what the cloud use case says. That as an end user, my responsibility is whenever I want, I should be able to get my documents back, no matter whatever may be the case. I don't really mind where my documents are being stored. It may be stored in USA or it may be stored in real clouds or undersea. I don't really bother, but whenever I try to access any file, either using my web browser or either using a mobile app, I should be able to get my files or documents back. That is the my use case, simple use case as a end user. Then who can provide? As a Google, they are providing all the services like Gmail, or if you take Google Drive. Yeah, so they are providing currently free of cost. Okay, because they want to sell their product. That's why they are doing it free. But are they doing everything for free? No, right? So some of the Google services also commercial products. So, but they are giving some services to community free of cost, just because they want to get popular, so that their company will become popular and they can go for public issue. They want to get money. So similarly, if you take any other real-time requirements, that's the reason the customers are trying to move to cloud to save a lot of infrastructure cost, because managing the infrastructure like a data center is becoming a too much overhead or tedious task anyone to manage the data center, because they have to manage right from power, cooling, and the physical security, and the cables, lot of cable, and lot of racks, servers they need to purchase, and there are a lot of manpower required to manage everything. And we don't know how much capacity we actually use. Today I bought some 100 servers, and as per my current application demand, I may be using 10% of my servers capacity. I already procured, but I'm not using 90% of my hardware. So it's unnecessarily I spend money, and there is no real benefit out of that. But if you move to cloud on demand basis, whenever we need any server, suppose if I want to use server or a virtual machine for 1 hour, I'll be paying only for 1 hour. I really don't need to pay for 24 hours. I can just shut down once my application usage is done. I will just shut down or stop the VM. My 80% of my cost is saved. Still there may be charges, but 80% of the cost can be saved when I shut down my computer. But is something which is not possible in physical data centers. So that's the reason. This is the main use case. The customers are crazy about cloud and they don't want to take any headache on their managing their infra, and they are pushing the headache back to the cloud providers like Azure. And similarly, the same mechanism works with other clouds too. But Azure becoming popular because it very well works with Active Directory. That means we all connect to our some or other way to our customer Active Directory, right? Domain, right? Someone who added to the domain, when we join any new company, the first thing they do, they create a profile, right? The Windows account. That's what we will be get added to the Active Directory. and then only we can able to log into our customer network, either using VPN or some other Citrix or whatever may be the case. But first of all, we need to get added to the domain or the Active Directory. So if your profile is created in your on-premises, means when you move to cloud, you really don't need to worry too much about managing the users even in the cloud. That is what the Azure Active Directory. Likewise, if you are using some of the licenses, Windows licenses, and you are moving to cloud, so if you move to Azure, they will allow you to use the same licenses which you procured or purchased for your on-premise server. Then you can still use the licenses. So there are many advantages moving to the Azure. When the question comes, why only Azure? Why not AWS and why not GCP? Because these are the three major popular cloud players we have today. There are pros and cons everywhere.
Disadvantages with the cloud?
Sorry.
Any disadvantages with the cloud?
Disadvantages, yeah, there can be disadvantages too. People argue that security, what is my whether my data is compliant, or whether my what happens if my data is leaked or hacked. Those are security is always there. So there are a lot of debates, but cloud providers are making sure that your application and data is secure, and you really will be surprised to see how much amount Microsoft is spending only on security. Every year they are spending $500 billion. We can't imagine that how much money they are spending to make sure that our workloads are safe. Yeah, you can just imagine how much important. And likewise, yeah, there can be, and the sometimes what if my application is running in one data center of cloud, and suppose if for any reason if the data center is not performing well, there are a lot of natural calamities and your data center is down, then if you don't have any backup plan, then your application might not work as expected. So there are like disadvantages too, but comparing to the advantages, disadvantages are very limited. I think I listed some down. Yeah, here. Vendor lock-in. Suppose you deployed a virtual machine in Azure, and you think that you want to move to some other cloud, then probably you need to migration will be a little headache, I can say. That is a vendor lock-in, we can say. And we don't have much control on the hardware level, right? Unlike in your on-premises, you have control everything from your physical servers to networking, and you can control everything. But here we don't have that much control. The security is always a debatable thing, but yeah, they are making sure that your applications are secure and data too. Everywhere the disadvantage is always there, some or other. Comparing to the advantages, they are very minimal, I can say. These many advantages, yeah. We already know, which we have been using cloud some or other way, right? The examples are use cases which I given you. You can just relate, correlate. And best example, you can take CCTVs. Suppose you are running a government organization, which is a very secure organization, and you want to watch who are the visitors coming to your office and going. Then all of a sudden, when intruder come and destroy your CCTV system and CCTV tapes and everything, then you may lose your important data, right? Suppose if you take backup, immediately sync to your cloud, then even if the physical hard drives which get damaged, you still have data backup in your cloud. You can think of many use cases. Cloud is something which is not at all a new thing, but only thing is getting popular because the customers are moving very fast, thick and fast, just to avoid the costs and which they are going through. They want to cut the cost, and not only that, they want to cut the manpower too, and not only that, they want the availability. Their application and data should be available on demand basis. They want to go and provision their hardware on demand basis, not just like buying 100 servers and then not utilizing for 90% of them. So it won't give any value added for the, and there is no capital expenditure. So we need not spend too much of capital expenditure when we set up the infra. But whereas on-premise, you need to spend too much of money because you need to buy everything from the scratch. But whereas when we move to cloud, we just pay per use what we use. We'll just pay them. We don't need to pay upfront. There are no upfront cost, and this is best suitable for the people who are who wants to start own a business like a startup companies. So startup companies, they don't know how much how their business will going to run. They will just want to try out something, and then this is the best platform. They can come and try out something, and they can develop some application and push it to cloud. And then once their business is going fine, then they will continue. Otherwise, if the business is not running as expected, then they will just shut down, and they really don't need to worry about any infra. That's it. They'll say bye bye. They may need to clear the dues. That's it. Simple. So these are some of the examples or use cases. There can be 100,000. So time won't permit to go through all of them, but I wanted to give some of the real-time use cases which we already been using for a while. I'll take some pause and we'll go through some Q&A. Then we'll probably, I don't want to take too much on the demo part. Okay, hope it makes sense, all of you. Yeah, please share your thoughts, and we will get start once you are, okay with everything.
Do you cover any certificate related syllabus also in this one, or only just concepts of Azure?
For certification, to be honest, we have to all depends on the Microsoft Learn. I'll show how we can able to go through the Microsoft Learn, and there are a lot of sample questions available in the Microsoft Learn, and there are a lot of other third-party practice tests are available. So I'll show some of them to get an idea. So you get some confidence. What are the questions are expected out of AG 104 or 400 or 204? These are the 3 certificates probably you may need to focus on.
And the practicals, will you show daily practicals?
Every day demos will be there, and
on the portal?
The portal, and using easy commands or PowerShell, wherever applicable, the demos will be there. And after each and every session, I will be documenting all the steps and everything with screenshots. In case if you miss any session, you can either follow the recorded session or you can follow the notes. So it won't be a big deal.
It's a 5 week session, right? 5 weeks session, right?
5 days, Monday to Friday. 5 days, Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 9:30 in the evening.
Any batch in the morning starting?
Morning, no, I don't have any now immediate. I'll be running in the morning for some from different institute, but not from Ganesh.
What is the fee structure?
That Ganesh and team, they will take care. You can get contact with Ganesh and team. Yeah, I'm just the instructor, so the rest of the things they will take care. And you just
we can discuss about it individually.
Yeah.
Person. If you have related to any subject matter, you just please discuss with that.
Yeah, very much, yes. So you just confirm your availability, and if you are okay for this course, then when because the course is we can immediately start it, not a problem. Okay, so please discuss with other things or logistics or whatever.
Starting from tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow. Yes, we'll be starting. Yeah. Okay, please discuss with any of your questions or other things with Ganesh and team. They will probably try to answer your. Yeah, if any technical questions or course related contents or anything, then I can be able to answer you. If not today, even any other day. Okay. So that's all from my side for today. Unless if you don't have any questions, we can take a leave and we'll be meeting soon.
Thank you.
Thank you guys and have a
Thank you
wonderful.
very much, Mr. Vinay, for
Yeah,
your
no
precious
problem.
time.
No
You have
problem.
any technical issue or doubts, guys?
Vinay, I have one question here.
Sure.
So with this course, right? Like how much of experience I can show? Like I have experience on IT 4 years.
Okay.
If I take this course,
Okay.
so in that how much years of experience I can show? Like
2 years is more than enough.
okay,
2 years.
yeah,
Because we cannot put everything as a
yeah.
cloud. 2 years is more than enough to crack you any of interviews. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you put more experience, also the questions will be
Yes,
more tougher, right? Yeah. This is more, 2 years is more than enough for you to crack any interview.
okay. If like if I put up 2 years, right? So
Overall, your 4 years, you put 2 years as a DevOps engineer. In the 2 years, you just tell them that I worked on some of the CI/CD pipelines, and before that, some of the Azure services. Likewise, you can divide the projects.
so what is the market if I put a 2 years plus previous experience, like total overall 4 years experience? So what is the salary I can expect?
Yeah, that is really difficult to answer. It all depends on your complete skill set and your area of expertise, all those things. But people are demanding more, I think, up to minimum 15 lakhs. I don't know, but I'm not the best person because I haven't changed much companies in my 18 years career. I just only changed recently, so I'm not the best person. Maybe you can just check with your peers.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you guys and have a great day. Bye. Take care.
Okay, we winding up the sessions, guys.
All right.
Thanks for participations.
Thank you all. Bye.